Start it. Ooh, I didn't mean to start the webinar, but I did. Can I end it? Ugh. Oh well.
Is this another turn?
Yes, this is Gray.
Hi, nice to meet you. Benjamin Gray Anderson. Gray Anderson.
Five, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Good. And then. I'm just saying. This name is perfect. It's amazing.
Hi, everyone. We're going to get started in a couple minutes here, but if you'd like to provide public comment on any of the items or something general, just fill out one of these purple public comment cards at the back table and return it to me. Thank you. Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm doing one of the classes that are.
Thank you.
Good. Classes, so 6.
Yeah.
But I did it.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, we read and I figured probably one we have to do. Right.
Yeah, but it's like.
Oh. Okay, I thought about what you do. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Okay. I'm a star in my body. I love that me or not. Real estate son, right? I love that you did. Most of us do that. I do. You can't just. All right. Yes. So you can hear.
You're already in.
Yeah, the first time, yeah, so you realize it's such a better because of that connection to right. Back to the other media. That's kind of good. It's back on this side. So.
I'm not sure if I know this. Spending everything. Very nice, good stuff. See.
Stacy's trying to join. I'm just gonna send her the Zoom link right now.
Who's that?
Stacy.
Oh, I did like, I'm great.
We have turned his name card out. Faces the inside. No, the other one, sorry. Pat Cashel. Just, you can turn Stacy's back. Perfect.
Now, should we check for one?
We have 6 with Pat. I think we have 5. We're good to go if you'd like. All right. Yeah, do you want to call the meeting to order?
Holding the order.
5:31 p.m. Okay, so then roll call. Okay. Sean McCoy.
Here.
Bill Shrimp.
Here.
Kristen Montan.
Here.
Roman Schomburg is not here. Patrick Fisher.
Here.
Stacy Shin. She just joined. I'm going to promote her really quick. Okay, I'll come right back to her. Hal Taylor, not here. Donna Keats, absent at this time. Michael Ginsburg.
Here.
Stacy, we're doing roll call. Just want you to confirm you're here.
Here.
Thank you. Pat Cashel.
Here.
Thank you. Also present is Councilmember Dewar. I'm Staff Liaison Callie Shy, and we have Council Relations Intern Gray Anderson. With that, we have a quorum of the Ward 2 Neighborhood Advisory Board.
First item on agenda 18 is public comment. Just want to say that, we have an opportunity, we've got 2 items up for discussion tonight. We will have an opportunity to provide public comment after those items are discussed, presented, right part of it. So that's something we're going to talk about, and on the way, you can certainly do that. So let's, I'm just opening it up right now for the public comment.
Thank you, Chair. Comments heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the NAB's agenda. The NAB may not take action upon any matter not agendized on today's agenda. When you are called on for public comment, please state your name for the record and begin speaking. The timer will begin when you say your name, and you will be afforded 3 minutes. If you're an attendee in the Zoom meeting and would like to make public comment, please raise your hand at this time. I do have some general public comments in the room. We'll start with Scott Murray, then Paul Smith, then Linda Smith.
Before you begin, I just want to mention, it isn't decided yet, but there has been a request to pull the item B3 River Inn outdoor storage. They are out of town, I think even out of state. They told me they were gonna have their attorney here. I don't see her, but anyway, the group will vote on whether to make that change. But just so you know, it will unlikely to be discussed today. River Inn and 3.
Great, so that was Scott Murray, then Paul Smith, then Linda Smith.
Sure, happy. I'm speaking in regards to the setback adjustment major deviation notice. First item that's on the agenda. There's two construction items on the agenda, so I'm addressing the first ones. Members of the Neighborhood Advisory Board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Scott Murray and I live immediately adjacent to the proposed building site. In fact, if you actually look at the site plans on the website, you can see a picture of our house. And I'm not here to oppose development, but to raise several site-specific concerns that I believe warrant careful consideration before any approvals are granted. So my first concern involves stormwater runoff and sediment control. The proposed home is planned near the edge of a slope that naturally drains toward our property. During rain and snowmelt events, surface water already flows downhill into this area. Construction activity, soil disturbance, and permanent changes to grading could increase runoff and sediment flow directly into our yard, where we maintain a garden, a chicken coop, and a lawn. And these areas are in daily use, and of course, we make our own food because of these. So I respectfully request that a professionally designed enforceable stormwater and erosion control plan be required to ensure all runoff and sediment are fully contained on the project site during construction and in the long term. And related to this, I have concerns about soil stability and building placement. In the applicant's materials submitted to the city, they state that they wish to reduce the setback from 30 feet to 15 feet in order to create a stable foundation and pad, noting that the existing house pad is very small and drops off at an undesirable degree in the back. These are their words, not ours. This statement itself suggests that soil conditions on the site may already be challenging. Given this, I believe that it would be prudent to reconsider the layout of the proposed structures. Specifically, moving the house toward the easternmost edge of the property where the maximum amount of level ground and relocating the garage to the western side of the house may help mitigate soil stability issues and reduce the impacts associated with building too close to the slope. My second concern relates to the wastewater management. If a septic system is proposed, I am worried about the potential for leachate migration downhill toward myself and my neighbor's property. Given slope, soil conditions, and proximity to my home, a thorough geological and hydrological evaluation is probably appropriate. The final concern involves access during construction. If the project connects to the city sewer system, based on the layout of the area, sewer trenching could temporarily cut off access to my and my neighbor's home. If sewer work is required, it should be completed in carefully planned stages that maintain safe contingencies to our property and our neighbors. Thank you for allowing me to address these concerns. And if you have any questions, I'll be around for the rest of the
I
meeting.
have one question. Have you submitted that one to the city staff?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, I suggest you do, because these type of projects, I think. I guess since it's on our list, it's probably gonna go to the planning commission, but
Yeah.
a good start would be to send it to our staff.
Okay, great. How would I do that?
Well, I can send you the email.
Okay. I have spoken to Mike Riley.
Make Mike Rayleigh.
Mike Rayleigh, yes,
Uh-huh.
I have spoken to him.
Yeah, but it's good to put all your concerns on the record.
Okay,
Okay, I'll give you his email.
perfect.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Next is Paul Smith, followed by Linda Smith.
Speak on E.
Oh, okay.
No agenda.
The final public comment period. Okay, thank you for that. With that, I don't have any more in person. I don't have anyone with their hand raised online, so.
We can move on to A3. First of the agenda, it's my understanding that E3 has been pulled.
Well, they're requesting.
Requested, correct.
Vote on.
But we need to modify the agenda. And just remove that from our discussion. So I'd be looking for a motion to amend and approve the agenda. Removing the river and outdoor storage business discussion.
Here, I'm also happy to move the staff liaison report after the development items if you'd like. It's mostly review tonight, so just in case the board wants to go through development first.
Chair, I move that we approve the agenda, removing item B3 and the staff liaison report after any developments items.
Like, there was for the record, I was.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, moving on then to A4, election of officers. So this is something that we normally do beginning of every year. So the work we did couple months ago to recruit the secretary and the chair and vice chair, I was going to redo now. And it'll be good for this year.
Yes, this calendar year.
Yeah, I am happy to keep serving as chair. I don't, if there's a competition for a job or not, I'm open to that as well, but I'm certainly going to continue on as chair for this year. Will nominate myself.
I'm gonna, Mike Ginsburg for the record, I would like to make a motion on A 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3 all in one shot. I would like to move Sean McCoy be the chair, Bill Shrimp be the vice chair, and Christian Montan the secretary. Patrick Fisher for the record, I second that.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any opposed? No? It's good. All right, that's unanimous. Love it. All right, let's move on to A5, approval of the minutes. Everybody received a copy of those, they have a chance to review them.
Ginsburg for the record, and move to approve the minutes from December 16, 2025.
Sean Coyle, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion passes. A6, council liaison report.
Well, it's great to see everyone here tonight. My name is Naomi Dewar and I'm the Ward 2 council member. Oh, you're holding your heart. That's very sweet. Well, on that note, this is my last year. I have until the beginning of November when the elections are held. And I hope we have a celebration here, maybe in the October meeting, is to say goodbye, but we still got a lot of work to do. At these meetings, what I generally like to do is talk about coming attractions and also things that have already happened. So in terms of coming attractions, the long-awaited Lake Ridge Golf Course proposal is coming to council next Wednesday. And some people have been confused and called me up saying, why is it at 2 p.m.? That's because most of the other Lake Ridge proposals that have come forward, particularly the Lake Ridge Apartments, have been appeals. So those projects have gone to planning commission, been approved there, and then one or more people, in one case 19 people, appealed those projects, and so they're heard in appeal time, which is 6 p.m. This project is SPD, a specific plan development. And as such, it goes to council. It's in lieu of another zoning document. And all zoning is reviewed by council. So if it is approved and people want to appeal that, that would go to court. And if it is denied and people want to appeal that, that would go to court. In each case, they'd have to file some type of document, probably with the help of an attorney, and it would go to the first level of court. I hope we don't get there, but it's very possible no matter how it goes that happens. So you are more than welcome to come and give your opinion. You're welcome to send your opinion, pro or con. My recommendation always on sending opinions is that, of course, you send it to public comment, which is public comment at Reno.Gov. But also, I recommend always that you also send it to every council member, and you don't have to do this individually. You can just list all their emails on the same email that you send a public comment. And I also often recommend send it to our city manager so she knows what's going on too. And if you need those, I'm not sure where to find them, Kelly. Often people call me, I send them the whole list. I've done this so many times. But one of the things the city did, I don't totally agree with this. We used to have our emails listed on the website under our name. And they took that off and they made it a fillable form. So if you wanted to send us a comment, you go on there and do a fillable form. The thing is that it doesn't work for attachments. So if you have an attachment or pictures, you can't send us it that way. It doesn't allow attachments to my knowledge. May have been fixed, but to my knowledge, it hasn't. So I always recommend that you get the list. Now, is the list published anywhere?
Not that I know of, but
Okay.
I'm gonna take a look at the website.
Okay. Well, I don't think it is, but feel free to contact me. I've texted it to people, I've emailed it to people. I've posted it on my Facebook. You know, I think you should have easy access to those emails. So I would like the city to put that back on the website, but you know, that will take some requests from the public to get that done. Questions about that project? So they've set a time certain of 2 p.m. so that you're not sitting there all day. You can come at 10 a.m. and give a public comment then. That's when general public comments. Or you can wait till 2 and attend then. You can attend in person. You can attend online like we have tonight. So all of those options are available, and how to do that. The online, the link is posted right on the agenda. And even though the agenda is called a PDF, the link is still operational. Are there any questions about that before we move on? No, the 6 p.m. is for appeals, and this is not an appeal. This is the first time it's being heard. Okay. Other questions? Yeah.
Have you announced what your position is on the Lake Ridge?
No, and I never do. I haven't in 12 years. We are sitting as quasi judicial role and making decisions on a pending development application. And I want to hear all the evidence presented at the meeting before I make a decision. To that end, I'm getting briefings by the applicant. I'm getting briefings by people that are opposed. I'm getting briefings by staff. All of those are scheduled for Friday. So I try to do it before the week of the meeting. But in the meantime, I have been reading the materials, all the letters we've received. But if they're not sent to me, I don't know they're received. If they're only sent to the city clerk through public comment, I actually have the opportunity to read them in advance, which is why I like them sent directly to me. Okay. So do I have concerns? Of course. You know, and I have shared those with all parties. The planning commission did recommend approval 6-1. So that's the recommendation that's in front of them. Okay. You can watch that online. I'm rewatching it myself before the meeting, just to see what their thinking was. Now, they did ask at the meeting that a number of conditions be added. And I want to make sure that I track what was requested and what was added. So, and also I think the staff have continued to review it like pretty regularly as new information has come in. And my understanding too is they've changed certain aspects. Something that came up today was how high is the hotel? And apparently it's not specified. And usually the reason you do an SPD is to specify stuff, like where a building will be, how high it will be. And I will just note that not very long ago, we did deny a project that also came in under the SPD because they did not provide a lot of detailed information about how tall, how many units, and that kind of thing. And we felt like we were not prepared to give an SPD, which by the way, does not have an end date. It can live forever. I did hear that one of the comments of planning commission was that the project proponent said they may not start or finish for 10 years. And that's just like, who knows what happens in the next 10 years. And one of the other concerns that has been expressed is that what we've seen often, at least I've seen often in the last 12 years, is people will get an entitlement to do a thing. But then what they're really after is to sell their project with an upgraded standing and not really build the thing. And sometimes people are a little short on details because they don't want to lock it in too much, because what if they sell it and somebody wants to do something different? And even if they, whether they do or they don't, they usually have to come and get an amendment anyway to a PUD or an SPD. Now, PUDs do have an ND. I think they don't have an end date specifically, but they have to come in for reports. I think it's every 5 years to say, what are they doing? So SPD was done away with. We brought it back because we thought on some of these smaller projects, it's very useful to get more detail, more information before they move forward, not just zoning. Because they could have just asked for zoning. They could have just said, we want to change a portion of the golf course, 12 acres to, I think they were asking for SMU, which is a zoning that allows construction of like a hotel and casitas and things like that, a restaurant. So that's all out there. You know, if you're interested, you know how to participate. Questions, more questions on that before I move on? Okay. I wanted to mention on this upcoming, so that's this Wednesday, but also this Wednesday. You know, we have the Reno Aces here in a baseball stadium. And one of the things we've been doing is going back in and reviewing our contract and making sure they're specific and well-reasoned. And in this case, we, our staff in particular wanted to revise it and shift. We are under obligation to pay $1 million to baseball to meet certain obligations with all those, if I pay my council. One of the things it would do is shift that payment over to what we call the redevelopment funds. And out of the general fund, this will help protect the general fund. And if the redevelopment fund doesn't have money, they don't pay. It's a different thing than the general fund. The general fund, you're guaranteed to get your money. Redevelopment, you're not. And so that's the thing that's in favor for the city. There's also, I think, a 23 year agreement. So it extends the time baseball being here. And a few other things that are both good for the city and good for baseball. So that's on the agenda. There's a number of development projects on the agenda, none of which other than Lake Ridge are in Ward 2 that I recall. So if you're interested, well, actually one is. It was called a ring road and it was supposed to be heard at our last meeting. But at our last meeting, we ran out of time. It got to be 7:30 and we had to shut down affairs. I've asked Jackie, our city manager, to allow us to go back to 8:30. We were been meeting in this building for the last 11 plus years. And the meeting's always been 5:30 to 8:30. And when they redid the boards and commissions and NABs, they changed our time to 7:30. And what that meant was, even though they were still open here, we had arranged for our staff to go home. So I was prepared today to actually step in for our staff who have to leave at 7:30 and run the equipment, pack up the equipment with the help of all the NAB. I discussed this with your chair, Sean McCoy, to see if he wanted to move it to City Hall, our meeting. And the NAB has said over and over at every meeting since like May that they don't want to meet in City Hall. They like meeting here. It's cozy, it's informal. The Zoom is actually better than it has been at City Hall. I know that's surprising. But the reason is that when we're having NAB meetings, they don't have an operator running cameras and those kind of things. It's just a fixed camera. Now they've just upgraded the cameras just, I guess, over the break. And now they're going to allow, I guess, Callie or someone else to move the cameras. So when we went there in the last few months, you could see the back of the heads of all the participants. You could see the back of the heads of the speakers, and so on. And you could see the NAB way far away, and you couldn't see their faces because it's so far away. But I said that was a big issue, and so they have fixed it. It sounds like another issue is just, you know, it's a little more cumbersome to get in the parking lot and get into the building and so on. So the NAB keeps telling me they want to meet here. So I checked in with Sean before this meeting to see if he wanted to still meet here and take on these extra duties. And he said, yes. So that's what we were doing. So this ring road, I'm not really sure anything about it because usually I learn about the projects at the NAB myself. And so I've asked for a special briefing on that coming up. I wanted to mention one other thing that came up at the last meeting, and that is, and some of you may have read about it. We have a lot of multifamily buildings in Reno, Nevada. And about half of the people in Reno are renters. You may not know that statistic. It varies between 50 and 55%, roughly that area. Some are single family homes, some are multifamily. Well, we have worked hard to get affordable housing the whole time I've been on council. And to do that, we help builders get something called home funds. recently, in the last few years, we've come forward with some funds to pay for their sewer connection fees to mitigate the cost of building affordable housing. Sometimes we have given them land not at market value, but at pretty much zero, just to get them to build. Well, once these things are built, they have to be managed. And there is a company here in town called FPI that manages a lot of these places. And unfortunately, I've had a lot of complaints about FPI managed buildings, particularly in our ward. And I've had to get involved in this very specifically for over 6 years, trying to resolve tenant complaints. There's not really a very formal tenant organization, although recently a tenant organization has been stood up. Well, there was just a 7-part series specifically on FPI and some of the challenges with the management. 7-part series by This Is Reno. I think the last one just maybe came out on Saturday or Friday, probably Friday. And the mayor, what happened was a number of residents at FPI managed properties came to city council last meeting and said that, for example, one of the properties is called Vintage at the Crossings. It's down by the Walmart in South Reno on near Demonte Ranch Road. It's actually on Old South Virginia. And they had numerous complaints. In fact, they had tried to evict the guy who was leading the charge on. You can't do that. And the judge threw out that case. But they were there and this is the 3rd time they've been visiting with us. And in just the last month, I've had to deal with 2 different trash problems at these places where the trash is just overflowing. I mean, it would startle you to see, let's say, an area as big as this next to the dumpster, complete trash in the dumpster, complete trash everywhere. And I've had to get the health department involved. In Northern Nevada Health Department, they've been amazing. And it's at different properties. They say the trash compactor's broken, or they say there's rogue trash haulers dumping trash at their property. They don't have fences and gates and cameras and those kind of things. So, where this is all going is that the mayor at our last meeting requested that we send a letter to the Attorney General to investigate. And this is public record, and in fact, several news outlets picked that up. And so this letter I've just read it today. It's been sent to Attorney General, and during this reporting, and This Is Reno, they documented same problems in California and other nearby states with this same management group, which is very large, national management group. So I don't know where all this ends, but since it's been so widely reported and it's been discussed extensively at council, I at least wanted to, bring you into the fold, let you know what's going on. I think I'll stop right there and just see if there's any questions before I close out my and it doesn't have to be on what I just spoke on, it could be something else. Yeah, anyone? No one? Okay. Well, thanks for being here. Great turnout. Appreciate it.
All right, I'll turn to agenda. This is kind of our development zone. Before we do, I just wanted to kind of follow up a little bit on what you're saying about the time limit we have tonight. Under the new resolution, it makes it clear that staff has a 2-hour time limit. And I want to be respectful of their time. So, when that time limit hits, if we're still here, if we're still meeting, you have to go. I mean, I understand that completely. And we want to be respectful of that. Obviously, if we lose quorum, we'll have to stop, but it's the only kind of caveat to that. I don't anticipate it. And we may be able to finish before the time. But there might be some nights where we don't. And I think it's important that we continue to meet here. I haven't heard of anybody lodging to really meet downtown. I definitely like it here. It's closer to my house, and it's close to everybody who wants to come and participate. And this is how we like it. But we do have that kind of timing issue. And so just want to be respectful of that. It's kind of like a fine line we're trying to walk.
I did have one more thing. I'm so sorry.
And this is part of why we go longer sometimes. There's always one more thing.
I did want to tell you one more thing. So since we last met, we had a really special meeting offsite. It was about the Lear. Some of you may be familiar with the building. Some may not, but it's a former church, was operational, started in the thirties. Its architect, Paul Revere Williams, was a Black architect who was the first Black architect who was allowed into the American Institute of Architects. He was known as the architect to the stars, so he was very active in Hollywood, built a lot of things. When people started coming up here for divorce and so on, he followed. They liked it here, just like I did. And I actually came here, my dad came here to get a divorce back in the 70s, and he loved it here, and he stayed here. And I came to visit him, and I loved it here, and I stayed here, so back in the 70s. But so he ended up building a number of buildings in Reno, and one of those was the Lear. When the folks decide they need a bigger church, Moya Lear acquired the building, $1 million she put down. This was like 2 decades ago. Several nonprofits were set up in series. The building ended up belonging to Art Town in another whole series. It never belonged to the city of Maine. Never, ever, ever did we own it. We finally took ownership about 2.5 years ago. We still paying on it. And we had a big public meeting. It was on January 10th on a Saturday for 3 hours. And it's worth mentioning because 180 people turned out. Like 125 in the room and the rest on Zoom. There is a survey that's open until the end of January, so you still have time to register your input. And I hope you look for it. You just go to Reno.Gov, search Lear, and then bring up the Lear page, and you can put in your 2 cents about its future ownership, what could go there. And that's the kind of input that we're looking for. The Historic Resources Commission met late last week. They put together a bunch of recommendations. Those are going to be presented to the council at their second meeting in February. I think it's February 25th. So just in case, this is something I personally have been working on a lot for I'm probably in my 8th year on that now, trying to get it into a stable place into good hands. We finally got it to the city. So I just want to, it's in what they call fair condition, not great, but not terrible. But that wasn't the city of Reno's doing. We are sort of riding in as the rescuer. We have to raise about between 20 and 25 million easy to do any of the different alternatives. So it's a big lift, but I think our community has it within it to do it. So I wanted to just put it on your radar. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, let's move into B1 while we still can.
Yeah.
This is the Roberts front setback deviation. Presentation.
We don't have a presentation tonight, but the applicant's here to answer questions.
Harry, are you able to pull up to the side?
Yes, shared site plan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Steve McCrees from SBM Architecture. I'm assisting the owners of 3189 Heather Ridge Lane. The proposal for discussion tonight is adjusting a front setback from 30 feet to 15 feet. And the reason we're doing this, as you can see here by the topography map, is as you get back to roughly 35 to 40 feet from their front property line, there's a major drop off. So in order to make the project feasible for the owners to construct, we've decreased the floor plan. So the conditioned space can be roughly 1,200 square feet with a 1-car garage. So not a huge house by any means, but making it so we can fit on the level ground for construction. I did notice on Heather Ridge Lane further down that there are houses with similar situations. So the houses are built up to 15 feet from the front setback. So there is a precedence for this request. And are you able to zoom in, Kevin?
Are you looking at the topography, or do you want to see some of the photos?
Can you? What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the house right here, the proposal. So here's the topography, and you can see these lines spaced close together. indicates a steep slope down. So we're trying to orient the house the best we can here where the lot is level.
When you put it on the middle,
I'm sorry?
put it on the middle,
Well, in order to keep, if we put it on an angle, we're still needing the 15 foot.
And what about where you
adjustment.
sketched out this on the right? Cause that looks like flat ground.
So this isn't the lot. The lot starts here, so here's the boundary line to the right. And this is the front setback, and then it's almost an R shaped.
Or is it an L?
So
Say
here-
R?
yeah, so here almost a lowercase R. And then this is the neighbor's lot. This isn't.
And they don't want you building a lot,
I don't think.
And is it a 1 story or 2?
That's correct, yes.
So it's only 1,200 square feet?
1,200 square feet, yeah.
That is very rare in today's world.
Mhm. It is. So the owners are willing to decrease the size of the house to make it fit on the level portion of the line to make it.
And what are the side setbacks?
The side setbacks 5 feet.
And is that's all that's required? Is it a HOA there or what is it?
No. No. So currently, the front setback, it's zoned SF3 is 30 feet, and we're requesting to adjust it to 15.
And in SF3, it's a 5 foot side setback?
That's correct, yes.
And is the other house 5 foot on that side?
No, you can see here the neighbor's lot, they have more of.
No, I mean on the other side.
No,
No, on the other side.
Beside,
yes, both sides
Oh.
are 5 feet.
No, but the house on the other side is sort of built there.
Yes,
And how far is that setback?
I believe they adhere to the 30 foot.
Not the front, but the side.
Oh, 5 feet as well.
So their house is built right up to 5 feet.
No, the setback.
That's what I'm
is-
asking.
Yeah. It's currently not illustrated on this map, but the neighbor's yard, the house is roughly in the center.
Gotcha.
Could you pull it a little bit more? Please, so I can see, so maybe. There you go. Much better, thank you.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, the setbacks here is this line, so here's the property line, here's 5 feet. So we can't build over that, but we're further away from the side setbacks here as well, so we're roughly 10 feet, over 10 feet away, but we really need it in the front to avoid building on the steep slope.
I mean, are they building a basement or a walkout?
Crawl space, and then the back will have a deck space.
It's not a walkout basement or something?
No.
And which neighbor, the gentleman who spoke earlier, what side of the property?
And we're the ones to the left.
Okay,
So that steep grade is what was our concern about. Water runoff, et cetera. That would be flowing toward our property during construction, after construction. That was what I was addressing. And so if you look at that drawing, has more distance on the right-hand side as opposed to the left-hand side. To mitigate the runoff issues, my thought was to move the house closer to the right-hand side. And to be clear, the house on the right-hand side is the same owner. They own the parcel and the house on the right, and they own this house. They own this lot as well. They own both lots.
Yeah.
I do, I mean, it's some pretty steep grades there, and I'm looking at it on the Washington County GIS page as well. And there's pretty steep, so what LID type of developments, improvements do you have? I don't see anything listed in here or proposed.
For this, just a single family custom.
No, so I know maybe it's a commercial thing, but in terms of stormwater runoff and drainage on the lot, things like that. So what's the plan for all of that? And how old is the leach or the perk test?
So right now, there's 2 options we're looking into. So one option is to put a septic system on the parcel. The other option is to connect to city sewer, which would involve breaking the street, trenching through the street. There's a sewer connection at the end of the cul-de-sac here, so the owners are weighing both of those options.
Okay. What about stormwater runoff? Because when you, in lots of parts of town where there's steep valleys like this, and I'm looking at it, and I think I can see what he's talking about, what the neighbor is talking about. Uh,
Yeah, so
There definitely is a current water drainage thing going on. So what is the plan to preserve that or to address those concerns?
yeah, so to Mr. Murray's point, the goal would be to drain as much as we can to the street to the stormwater system. And not affect the topography.
Doing construction?
No, after it's built.
So you're talking about your runoff controls would be, Mr. Gow's not, that you're saying is good for the streets.
Ideally, yes, there is a stormwater system.
That's a 1,200 square foot house, you said?
Yes,
So it doesn't have a big surface area.
that's correct.
And so there's a stormwater runoff on the street and a sewer.
The sewer is further down at the end of the cul-de-sac, so the owners are weighing those costs, whether to build a leach field and a septic system on the parcel, or they would have to break the street, cut a trench down to the end of the cul-de-sac and connect into city sewer, but there may be easements involved, so we haven't quite hashed that out.
On that note, my information is that if there's sewer, if you're within 400 feet, you need to connect. Have you researched that? You have to get permission from district health to have a septic system, and usually they evaluate, they require a perk test, but if you're within 400 feet, they make you hook up. But do you know what the distance is from
So
the property line to?
So right now, there's easements that go through adjacent property owners where they're running septic or, excuse me, sewer lines through neighbors' lots via easement. So we're currently in the process of locating those easements and seeing if we can negotiate or develop another to connect to city sewer. But yeah, I do understand that, that's the preference, is to connect the city.
Well, I think it's more than a preference, there's actually state law. So it's just something that, if you can feasibly, to your point, maybe infeasible, but there is a requirement that you do it. So I only know, so another thing I've been doing is meeting with 105 owners over off Plum Lane that were looking at moving from septic to sewer. And what the costs are and what grants are available. And it's been a very big deal. And so I just wanted to, it's very heavy on my mind right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good point. I mean, ideally, if sewer was running in the street, it'd be a lot easier to connect.
But you're saying it's not.
It's not. And to give you an example of the cost, I think some rough numbers came back at 50 to 60,000, just a trench from here to the end of the cul-de-sac to connect. And then the city has to come in and backfill the street with paving. So just the encroachment permit alone for that would be $20,000.
So just so you know, on my street, I also have septic and all of my neighbors do too, but when two of their systems either failed or there were problems, they were required to pay that and more. One guy paid around 68,000 and this was 15 years ago. And one is just doing it now and he's paying 150,000. So just sharing some numbers, which is why I'm encouraging the people over near Plum Lane to do it now and not wait. So, okay.
Sorry, how many plumbing fixtures you plan?
2 restrooms, so
And a kitchen.
kitchen there.
Question?
Sure.
I'm Donna Peterson. I'm a little troubled by how most maps, not theirs, but in general.
We can't hear you. I'm so
sorry.
sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I'm like monitoring this thing.
Okay. The topography as it goes this way, because there's no information about, is this west? I don't see no arrows, but I assume this is west. To the left.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so going to the west. I'm trying to envision what's happening to topography, and I can't, of course, because we don't have now. But it looks to me like from the back of your property, follow the topo lines, you're going downhill that way, somewhere there's gonna be a curve. And it's gonna swing around, and I'm trying to get to where Mr. Murray is saying he's concerned about runoff ending up on his property or in his chicken coop. So what, can you just like point out where the center of the drainage would be, kind of just run around with your finger? If we had, if we follow the slope all the way down, there's a drainage that comes like that, right? And there's some, so what kind of general course does that take relative to where this house is going?
So right now, this would be the natural valley, so water draining down would hit this valley and go down on this existing lot, but yeah, it is possible for some to drain onto Mr. Murray's property as well.
Okay, so you're saying where the change in slope to the west is the drainage, is the natural, the currently existing V, correct? So it would go that way. So it's not, I mean, we'd have to have some pretty severe runoff, but there's only one part of it that I can see that kind of could go to him first, before it goes down. So do you have anything in mind to just deal with some downslope runoff control?
As far, I mean, this is essentially a preliminary stage, so we're putting this application forward to see if the 15-foot setback is granted, and then from there, as the project develops, that would definitely be accounted for as the design.
What's that bad?
30 feet. But there are homes down the street that have 15-foot setback, and I saw some at 20, so it has varied because other homes on the street deal with the same topography. So it's not uncommon to have a house or a house closely to the street.
I'm quite sure that. Mike Ginsburg for the record. So you talked about the sewer, but is there existing storm drain? Because I see the way the topography goes, Heather Ridge goes down into the cul-de-sac. So is there a storm drain there? What is its natural fate?
Yeah, so right now it slopes down into the cul-de-sac, and there is a storm drain at the end of the cul-de-sac.
So street water should really be able to take it through that storm drain. And it's just basically the water flow off the hill.
Yeah, so ideally, we would want all of the storm water that hits the house to be directed to the street and through the stormwater system.
Now, sorry, go ahead.
On to the record, I'm trying to understand, okay, so it's 15 feet as opposed to 30, so it goes back 30 more feet. How's that gonna affect drainage? I mean, how does it make it better or worse? It doesn't.
So yeah, we would cut into the topography there. And it would affect this topography here. So if we took, this is 15 feet, moved it, we're right at the steepest part of the slope. So that would
So
essentially,
I mean, if you put it there, if you moved it back for 15 feet, is it gonna change drainage? It's gonna make construction harder.
construction harder definitely. And then, I mean, still, we
It would be the same drainage issue. It doesn't matter if you have the 15 foot or the 30 foot, you're gonna have the same drainage issue.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
One of the things I was gonna add is a basic rule is that you can't have water from your property flowing to other people's properties.
Yes.
So have you thought about putting some kind of like this first 30 feet, I guess, some kind of concrete wall or some kind of wall that would keep the flow off the property to the,
Yeah, that'll be developed as the
but
design.
I mean, is that what you're already thinking of?
It's common practice to not have runoff slope onto a neighbor's lot.
Right, so, I mean, so have you talked to them about what they're putting as far as a wall or something?
It would be handled via grading. So we can do it with the swale, so there's a couple of different ways to do it.
Okay,
But yeah,
so a swale would intercept the drainage and redirect it to the back or the front?
correct, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're.
So-
Okay.
I'm sorry, Bill Sherm for the record. I'm looking at the GIS map in Washoe County. So there is what we're looking at. As far as the 15-foot setback versus 30, just looking at the GIS map and your statements about the setback and topology of the area being, it's definitely consistent with the area. And it does seem like you're trying to be a good neighbor, the owners are trying to be good neighbors, you know. I hope he's what everybody's trying to do at the neighborhood advisory board. So, but I just want to say what we're looking at over here. So people are like, what are they looking at over there? That's what we're looking at. So yeah, sorry, the whole. Any more questions from the board? We're opening up. Okay. Any questions from the audience? Do we have public comment?
I'm gonna check online.
Oh,
You can speak and fill out a card afterward if you'd like to provide comment.
Hi, my name.
Let's have you come up for the owl.
This is called the owl and it has.
Yeah, I know. My
Okay,
church has owls.
good.
Hi, my name is Emily Montan, and the only on the map is down is because it's the property to the right of the proposed development. Yeah. So apparently this property is owned by the same people. So I really like setbacks because it's prettier. So you have more greenery and greenways because of setbacks. So if they don't want to go into where it drops down, they could technically move it over since they already have a property here. And it'd just be closer and they could still do it without doing the 15-foot setback because I don't like. I don't like it. I mean, cities are meant to be dense and I understand that. But the taking up the 15 feet is like taking out 20 trees in my mind. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for this.
Bill in the back, did you?
Did you consider connecting to the other easements to fix this sewer issue?
We can, you come up. I know you've got child care.
That's all I wanted to say.
I'll just,
He was asking about the easement.
Maybe for fixing the sewer, if you considered connecting to another easement rather than going all the way down the street.
That's what we're looking into now.
So what was the comment? Do you repeat it?
If we were looking into connecting to other easements with neighbors and I said.
For the sewer?
For the sewer, correct, yeah.
if someone online, Hugh, you can just unmute your mic and state your name for the record.
Yeah,
You
Hugh
have 3
Robbins,
minutes.
said property owner. Can you hear me?
Not very well.
Okay.
Turning
Well.
up the volume.
Yeah, my volume's all the way up.
No, we're turning up our volume.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to echo what Steve was talking about. Our preference is to do sewer. We want to be as minimally disruptive to this land as we can. We've owned this land. My family's owned this land since 1968.
Are you the person constructing?
I'm the person constructing.
Oh,
And so, sorry, I've been trying to raise my hand for about 20 minutes and it wasn't working. So, anyway, so you can hear me now. So yes, our hope is to connect to sewer. And if the city can help us do that, that's great. But we're going to have to do an easement through one of the neighbors' properties to attempt to connect to the sewer. We don't want to do a septic system. We don't want to put more, we don't want to make an eyesore down that back hill. We want to be as minimally disruptive as possible. We certainly understand Scott Murray's concern about drainage onto his property, and we'll work with whatever we can do to prevent that from happening as well. So that's all I wanted to say.
And I think this is Deb, I'm Hugh's wife. We understand that anytime you're developing something around other people's places, it's going to have impact on them. The reason we wanted to move closer to the street is we don't want to degrade that property back there. We have a soils test, the soils are fine. It's just, we don't want to rip up ground. We're limited because it's two separate lots. It's not one big lot and we're trying to put a property on one lot. It's two separate lots. So the place that we're proposing that we want to build is modest and it is small. It's not our intent. There will be no walkout. It's intended to be small. It's where my 80-year-old parents are going to live, right? I need to find a place for them. And so that's why that is. If this doesn't work for us, then we're looking at redoing 3185 Heather Ridge and having my parents move into that. And then we're going to have to sell that vacant lot because we can't afford it. So, you know, Hugh grew up here. He's lived here since he was born. And we are going to do everything we can to not impact our neighbors and the neighborhood. And but we know it will have impact, but no, we're in preliminary plans and Steve is really helping us out tremendously. But we have to make these initial steps. If we don't get the deviation, the cost of the involvement to go in and try to build on that slope and what needs to be done on that slope is kind of crazy. And so then maybe it isn't feasible, but then we're selling the lot to who knows who's going to put what there, you know? So we're struggling a bit because we're really trying to be thoughtful and making sure that we are doing right by the neighborhood that Hugh grew up in. And that's where we are going to move. We are going to move and live there. We are going to live next door. So all that said is we have some challenges, right? We have challenges with we'd love to be on sewer. We want to be on sewer, but we are having to bear the entire cost of this and because the city is not doing anything. So we are having to figure out how to figure that out. And if we end up having to put in septic, we have to redo the septic on the main house anyway, because the septic in the front is failing, which means now we're degrading the back slope again. Because we will have to put in a leach field and all of that, which is not what we want to do. So
are you thinking about putting in sewer, this is Naomi, for both houses?
We
yes.
are, and we have another neighbor adjacent to 3185 who would also be interested in joining the sewer as well. So we have a number of folks that want to get onto sewer. You know, Heather Ridge fought the city about 35 years ago when they tried to go sewer, and the entire neighborhood was up in arms and the city backed down, which is disappointing because we would have been much better to be on sewer back then.
Well, this is what we're going on the 105 houses off Plum. And
Oh, I
our
know.
first meeting, 80% said they didn't want to do it, but by second meeting, we worked out a lot of details, changed the approach, and now 80% or more say they want to do it. So I hear you. I have one more question or comment.
Sure.
You know, I'm not going to weigh in here because it's not for me to opine, and I don't even opine on your application of planning commission. But if you are successful or if you aren't, one idea is to do a boundary line adjustment between your two properties, deed over a certain amount of square feet from your one property to your other, which would enable you to move the house slightly. I'm just saying as.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah.
And I know folks that are down in that Plum neighborhood, and they're probably the ones that are still trying to hold out on you, but I think it's silly.
Well, most
Progress
of
is
them
progress.
most of them are go forward at this point.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Are there any final comments from you good? Okay. Thank you. All right, then we can.
So just for everyone, the next step is that the NAB will write comments to the planning commission about pro, con, their concerns, what they'd like to see addressed and that kind of thing. So they can either do that right now or they will do it tonight or the next day. And I don't know when this is planning.
February 18th.
February 18th.
So we have some time on this.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, moving on then to item B2 of the agenda, the Spectre residence grading.
also no presentation for this one.
Okay.
But we have, the applicant's representative.
You can print out, I don't know if we can
Yep,
give those out or
yeah.
not. Oh, okay, so. I apologize, I realized in our packet that there was not a cut through the actual section where the grading is gonna take place, that actually exceeds the 10 feet, which triggered this review. So I'm sorry, I'm Nathan Tolbert, I'm with Form Consulting, so I'm the residential designer for the project. I'm here with the owners.
Who are where?
Of course. sitting
Oh,
in the
hi.
corner. So basically,
And
this is on Chancellor Court, and we are basically developing a hillside. This is the last remaining lot in the development that it's been 60 years that and nobody's developed on this because it's an extremely challenging lot. I believe we've met the challenge with this design, but in doing so, there are things we needed to get accommodated, and we were very, very close to meeting all of the criteria. We have 127 square feet that is over the 10 foot of fill. And so in that drawing that I passed out, you can see the shaded area of exactly through that section. It's under the driveway, it's retained. We're doing basically 2 sections of fill. We're gonna be setting the pad with lifts, and that sets the pad elevation, and then we're putting the retaining wall, which have the last 6 to 7 feet in that retaining, and it's completely encapsulated in concrete. And then filling in the side, and this is simply to maintain access to the front door on this hillside. So I will turn it over to you with any questions you might have, and
So on this section, just so we're reading it, is this a section, a cross section?
yes, that's
And
the cross
is-
section, the line.
The
as you
left
can
is
see,
that
That's the street.
where it ends is the street, or which is the street?
Driveway. There's driveways on the left edge. You can
Okay.
see the curb cut, and then we come in, have a
Gotcha.
flat section, and then it drops down. And then you can see that gray shaded area. That's the most extreme cut section. But like I said, it's 127 square feet right in that one little area that we just weren't able to overcome the 10 foot, which triggered this review.
So everything in gray or dark gray would be excavated?
No, that's 10 feet or more.
I-
So
I know.
the line you see is the current grade.
Yeah.
Everything above that is gonna be
You're
filled.
putting in fill.
Yeah, in that section, we're cutting and filling to accommodate a pad to build on.
Gotcha.
And we have done soils reports, we've got it all. It's basically approved through the city of Reno until we found that we had the 10 foot, a section of 10 foot of fill that triggered this that we weren't aware of until the final rounds of plan review, when they asked for a grading depth map that we created, and then that triggered this. So like I said, it's all the comments have been addressed through the city of Reno. And engineering has basically recommended approval. And planning had, I don't know what their one comment was. Off the top of my head, but it's funny, I sit on that side all the time, but I'm on this side, I'm nervous about it.
Yeah.
And I agree with the video because I have issues with those cameras being behind me. When you were talking, I was like, yeah, stay here. So.
Okay, any questions from the board?
What is the APN or nearby street address for this project?
2093 Chancellor is, I think, the next door neighbor. Yes. Chancellor Circle.
Thank you.
But it's on if you have one of my plan sheets too, it'll be on the title block.
So you have a walkout basement?
Yeah, we're basically using the hillside as best we can in order to mitigate the amount of cut and fill that we're having to do. So the footprint is relatively small. And we're actually even cantilevering the garage floors, and there'll be under space under that. We're using pan deck and pouring over the top in order to try to keep it as much.
So is that where the man is where the deck is?
No, that's the upper floor.
But I mean, they drive out here, but where's the garage then?
That's on the other sections. There's no garage through that section. The garages are over to each side. And we've actually separated the garages so that they're both smaller, so they have less footprint because it's a pie-shaped lot.
So putting the two garages outside allows us to have the garage space and the entrance. And then the house wraps behind that.
And how big is the lot?
Uh,
It says it's,
Two.
what is it?
0.82
22.
So almost an acre. And then how big is the house? Square foot,
4,200, I think.
4,200 on 2 stories, so it's kind of
Yeah.
split.
Right, like I said, we went through the full process, and then when the plan review comment came back to have a slopes. And fill, a cut and fill map. So when we did that, that's when we realized that we had a fill section that exceeded the 10 foot.
And it's unusual you're in the same neighborhood of Heatheridge.
Yeah. You said that, I was like, wait a minute.
Did you take that dirt and use it here?
Yeah, well, and we do have similar issues, you know, there's a lot of things going on that we have to take into, and we've done a lot of work, a lot of research, and a lot of prep to accommodate the drainage, and because you guys are right, you gotta contain that 20-year runoff event on the hardscapes. So we've done the calculations, we're even including a detention tank to absorb that. So there's we've transferred actually a lot of the TRPA best management practices, so we can infiltrate a lot of all that. So yeah, a lot of work has gone into making this a project that's completely viable.
Can you say 20? Is it 25 though? I don't know what our,
25? Is it 25?
I thought so,
I thought it was a
but-
20-year event, but
yeah, okay.
that's my partner, the engineer. He writes the numbers, and I'm not allowed to speak numbers, so I get them wrong. That's why when he asks square footage, I'm like, oh, the owner will know, I'll get it wrong. Yes, go ahead.
Do you have the city map or anything?
Yeah, it was in our submittal package.
Was that same?
No, it isn't. I
It's not attached. Yeah,
There was nothing.
Not a presentation, but the actual application.
Yeah, the application package. I don't know, I didn't supply any of that. I supplied the application, and I was told it would be, you would have it.
It'll be on onenb.us. That's where the application materials are.
So going forward, we might want to just put a link on the agenda.
Yeah, there's a link to the one NB page in the blurb, but we don't, that's, I believe all of the,
So when you click the item agenda, there's nothing there.
there's no link to the specific project. No.
But going
that's why
forward,
I was struggling, that's why I asked you for the address, was I'm trying to like find.
going forward,
yeah.
it would be useful.
So that would help us.
So where they are on Heather Ridge, go up Heather Ridge and to the top.
Yeah.
That's where it is up on, doesn't help you.
The house.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I had no idea. We submitted all the documents, and I didn't
No,
know.
no,
that.
it says it on your-
This is news of
You can
process.
actually pull it up here.
I
And
can pull it up.
yeah, why don't you pull it up and get the?
Yeah, do the, and then I can show you, because it makes more sense.
See what you're talking about, you know, I
Right.
understand the process.
That makes more, yeah,
Where?
Well, I know.
absolutely. And you'll see, yeah, how we work to try to keep that under control there.
I believe I saw that you had, there was an application submitted somewhere in the middle of 2025. What is,
That was a building permit application. Yeah. And like I said, we've been through the process because this is a challenging lot. We've had a couple go rounds.
You know where it is stashed, the actual plan map?
I like this, what she's looking at, I didn't find anything.
But that's the application. I'll recognize the.
There's a grading, maybe grading revision, film map, hydrology.
Yeah, it'll be the GIS. EWG drawings, that one.
The second down, third down?
Yeah, plot plan, no, this one. Okay. The 1-2 is the cut fill map, that also, but if you see the full site plan first, then we do the cut fill map, it'll make more sense. There she is.
Yeah.
So here's so this is the thing, we've pushed it. There we go. They always go in there. Right, so there's the footprint and the area of the of the fill is, you can see these contour lines is right here. That's where where we exceeded the 10 feet. Other than that, we tried to keep it as, but that cross section you're seeing starts right here and runs right through the middle of this, straight through. So it goes from the curb all the way down through. So you're seeing the building levels, the floor levels. So there's a very small footprint on the first floor that's up level, and then we drop to the main floor that encompasses all of this. And then there's some walkout space on the bottom floor.
For the record, really quick, how much difference is there from the 10 feet? Is it like 12 feet, 80 feet?
No, it goes to like, we can see on the,
I had a hard time reading it, so.
yeah, well,
Oh, yeah, I should ask you a number thing.
so that's a foot, yeah, it's 10 feet right there, so it goes to 12 feet at the very foot.
Okay,
toe,
okay, thank you,
at the toe,
thank you.
and goes up from there. And I can show you that on the film map if we look at the next one. But yeah, so here's, where we're coming in, the drainage coming down, we're capturing all the runoff here, bring it down to a tank, and we've had to level some ground here for the water tank. There, and then that gets distributed out, and all of our other draining, this comes out into these armored swales. So we're trying to infiltrate all the water into the ground, and then it'll just go into natural sheet drain, which exists today. So we should have zero impact by the time it gets to the bottom of the hill. So that's that. You can hit that other one. But I'm not sure. We do have an area map. I'm not sure where it is in the.
Even that's all.
It's an 8.5 by 11.
It's like cross section is great, but.
That answered a lot of my questions.
Well, where are you?
There we go. So yeah, give this flip. I think that purple will show there. We go. There we go. So this is just a slope map that shows where we're less sloping than we're down to the exceeding 12% for the majority of the lot. And this piece right here is where we're greater than 10. This is level, this is fill to the 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8, and then above 10. And then the rest of this we're cutting. We have some fill back in here, we have some fill back there, but nothing is like that. And the two cuts you see down there for the septic system.
Same question, is there a chance to hook in to sewer?
There's nothing in the vicinity. We did do a search and it's Heather Way where they're talking about is way over there on that. Yeah, that cul-de-sac is shown on our vicinity though. But yeah, there's nothing there. But it was a challenge because of the fall, we had the thrust block and there's a lot to go into. It's not an inexpensive septic system. So it's actually a T system, which we had to work with, which I appreciate the health department. They were fantastic.
They've been doing a great job, I have to say.
Yeah, Latricia's amazing. And the other guy that worked with us too, I can think it was, they were on top of my head, but they're this T system, there's probably 4 or 5 in Northern Nevada.
That's it.
Because of the hillside, it sets up with it's like a big French drain in the middle of it. And then it sits on top of that, it's a sand filter system on top, so, yeah, it's not a unique design, but not a typical because of the conditions.
Dirt back there?
No, it's downhill. There's pictures in the application too. You can see that it's just, that's why we're filling all of this. Just to have a driveway, a landing area to get off the street and into the driveway. And like I said, we got it as close as we could to alleviate that.
Interesting. Is your on bedrock? When you're downslope, you don't have. No, fill.
It's not on fill, but we'll be bringing in structural fill.
So I'm thinking about a septic system. So you're just gonna put through sand? The drain, is that what this is, the system you're talking about?
No, I'm sorry, it's a T system, so normally, we're getting off topic here, but typically you have, your drain, your French drain or your leach pipe, and then you have that sitting in your earth, and then you have 3 feet of gravel below it and a 2 foot wide or 4 foot below. Well, this one, the option to that is to do a sand filter system where it sits on top of that and it slowly permeates over the entire system and then drops. Well, this actually does both. It runs a T underneath the middle that's deep. Then the sand system sits on top of that. So basically it's a storage tank in case it can't perk in a max peak flow situation. So it's kind of double dipping. But there you go, T system, you learned something today.
I was not clear with that.
No, we weren't either.
Anything else, Bill?
No, thank you for coming and being here tonight.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us and thanks for the questions.
Were there any questions from the audience on this one? We got a hand up over here.
Oh, go ahead.
How much square footage is in that upper portion that comes straight off of the road in the giant home? At home?
So ask me that again. How,
Is it a 3-story?
Of the almost 5,000 square foot home is the first level out, not the basement.
oh, I have it broken down on the plan sheet, but I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's basically a laundry drop zone. And then the master bedroom and then the atrium. And then the stairs go down to the basement. And so the living area is all in the middle level. And then there's just the daylight basement section. So it's technically it's a 2.5 story because of the daylight. It's not a 3-story.
Houses on Heather Ridge have all behind the houses, so there's no level house. You go in one level, you go down another, and you go down.
And that's what we're proposing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the sides, you'll have the his and hers
Right.
parking garages.
Maybe. I would like to say it's his and his, just because, old school, but no, I'm sure it's not. Probably won't let him park his dirty truck next to her nice car. I don't know, I'm believing now.
That's like the way I keep my garage.
Was there any others?
Thank you.
They go good. Thank you very much. All right, that's B2. Come to a close. That will end our development. And now we can come back to A6, council on. Sorry, A7, staff liaison report.
Sure,
Yeah.
be chair. Holly Shy, staff liaison for the record. A training that will probably be review for most of you, so I'll just kind of go through it. We have some public commenters. We have some public commenters for the final public comment period. Want to make sure we get to them. The ample time. So just some reminders first, for the board and members of the public. Reno.Direct is the city's non-emergency service center. Here to assist you with any questions or government service requests. You can call them Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. or submit a service request online at Reno.Gov/Reno.Direct. A quorum reminder, please remember to confirm your attendance with me and your board secretary, Kristen Montan. When you're contacted, I sent out a quorum check for the first quarter of the year. We'll follow that throughout the year. I'll send another one for the second quarter, third quarter, and so on.
Question.
Yeah.
Like in version the record. So when you send out a meeting invite,
The calendar
I
invite.
accept, yes, is that considered?
If you've accepted all of them, then yes, I just say Mike Ginsburg is gonna be here.
So it's, you send that request, I say, send response.
Yep.
Okay.
But I mean, if they're only gonna be at 2 of the 3, don't they RSVP on the individual calendar?
Yeah,
appointment?
I think you can accept them all, or you can pick and choose which one. So if you've accepted them all
Right,
and something changes, but you haven't changed that acceptance, I'm gonna assume. you're
and I
not.
can go back into that meeting.
You can go back in.
Hit
Yes,
apply and send response.
Or you can reach out to the secretary or Callie.
yes, let me know.
I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Avenues to.
Yeah, of course. Another reminder to sign up for the city's newsletters, especially the Ward 2 newsletter, and then the development projects and the council agendas newsletter. The development projects newsletter will inform you when projects come in and when they're going to the planning commission. And then you'll be informed about city council agendas on the council agendas newsletter.
And I want to make sure everybody knows how to do that. You just go to Reno.Gov. And in the search bar, you hit newsletter. And it will bring up this panoply of newsletters. It's probably 15 or 20 different newsletters. And click all that you're interested in and fill out your info and you'll get them, and it's great. It's really good.
Some board membership updates. At the last meeting, I shared that Audrey Keller resigned. Stan Dowdy has also resigned.
Oh, I didn't
from
know.
Board 2 NAB just recently.
Okay.
I think she's doing some traveling and she wasn't sure if she could balance it, so she has resigned. And then we have one alternate member vacancy. So those are all open. If anyone you know is interested in applying, they can go to Reno.Gov/boards and submit an application. You can submit an application for any board on that site. You can choose up to 3 at a time, and submit them multiple times. We also have all of the board members' term information on there. So if you're wondering what your term dates are, just go to the Ward 2 page, click on members, and then click on your name, and you'll see your term dates there. So when you're coming up on the end of your term, if you'd like to reapply, you can just apply on the website, Reno.Gov/boards.
Question.
Yes.
Again, for the record. So you say we have 3 vacancies, 1 alternate. I was alternate,
Right.
became permanent.
Mhm.
It's and then moved.
I'm gonna talk to Pat.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
It's not
the
automatic.
Question was, is it's up to you to move them, correct? They don't
Yeah.
automatically move them.
Right.
And I'll note that I think because of Audrey and Stan's resignations, those terms are partial terms until their terms end. So I know off the top of my head that Audrey's term ends in March. So if someone were to be appointed at the next council meeting, they'd be filling that term until it ends. So
This March?
yes,
Oh,
2026, yeah,
So as a practical matter, because if it takes a month anyway,
right.
it
It would
would
be up to the
be,
council member to decide that.
yeah.
Okay, that's it for board membership updates. Tonight's project review worksheets, you can see that, I think the second one that we heard is going to be February 4th. And then February 18th for our first one. So if we can get the project review worksheets in by next Friday, that would be great. So I can get them routed to planning and in the record for those planning commission meetings. A reminder for our officers, our chair, vice chair, and secretary to submit some public comment on how the discussion went tonight on those projects as well. You can submit those directly to the planning commission, or you can email them to me and I'll get them to planning and the commissioners and into the record.
Or they can appear.
Or they
at
can
the-
appear in person or
online.
on Zoom. Yes.
Mike Denver for the record, more clarity. So in past, I just want to make sure this is the exact same way. These public comment forms are filled out by the board members, but can also be filled out by audience.
Absolutely.
Correct. So anybody has the same voice. We probably, if we submit something to the planning commission formally as the board, but every single person fills this out.
We try to keep those worksheets for the NAB members because they're specific to your feedback. We encourage the public to submit public comment regardless and feedback. But we keep those specific worksheets.
That's what
I mean, but historically, they have filled them out right here, right now, and they've submitted them, but yeah.
Just make sure that I understand. There is sorry, Bill Shrimp. I was turned around, I didn't. There we go. Bill Shrimp, there is a distinction between the NAB sheets and the public comment form.
Yes.
And that becomes part of the record that the planning commission does see and review, is
Yes.
that right?
So we've kept the NAB comments separate from other public comment to make sure that it's easy to call them out and see what you've all spoken about.
Okay.
So I try my best to combine your worksheets, whether you submit them on paper. I don't know if I send it out to this board, but we have a form, a Microsoft form now. I'll make sure to send that out to you if you decide you don't want to do the fillable PDF or you don't want to turn it in on paper. You can fill out a form. That's easy. It comes straight to me. So I'll make sure you all get that. But then I combine that with any public comment you specifically submit, and then that is supposed to be added as NAB member comments to the item.
Okay.
And all other public comment is also stored as public comment.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. I think that's one of the concerns is that there's a distinction in some way, and it sounds
Yeah.
like that's happening. So thank you.
Yeah, we've had a good amount of planning commission comment about what the NABs have been doing. So
Okay.
hopefully it's working and it continues to work.
Quick question.
Yeah.
John, do you have public comment forms over there for the
Yes.
audience?
Yes, we have plenty of public comment forms over there.
Sean McCoy, for the record, just while we're looking at this page, so we potentially got 3 potential to the project worksheets, you guys have that, and when it goes in front of the commission or the council, they're itemized, NAB comments,
Mhm.
and it's this.
Yes.
If I provide public comment as a private citizen, it comes under public comment.
Yes.
Have you carved out a section for our summary,
Mhm.
whether it's one of the 3 of us,
Mhm.
who provide a summary of what's been discussed?
Yes. I've
So that it's its own thing, or at least separate from public comment.
I will usually try to put it at the beginning of the NAB member comments.
Okay.
So it'll be board officer summary / public comment, and then it will be these worksheets.
Okay,
Like a summary and then the worksheet.
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
excellent, thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna go quickly through some neighborhood advisory board review. Most of you have seen this before, so I'll just move through the things that you already know. And it's a little dated because we were supposed to get to this in December, but that's okay. Starting with review, the resolution adopted by council provides that NABs are to serve as ward-based forums for public comment and discussion on certain land development projects, as well as other community issues identified by the council liaison to the board. NABs are intended to strengthen communication between the city and the community by gathering neighborhood level feedback on development projects and ensuring that public concerns are recorded. NAB members may ask questions and provide comments, but NABs are advisory boards only and do not take votes on development projects or recommend positions to the planning commission or city council. This will be review, but you know that the NAB structure is as follows: introductory items. So our roll call, public comment, approval of the agenda and minutes, and then updates from the council and staff liaison. Then we move into the development project review, which is usually the main bulk of our meeting. Section C is for non-development items. And then you might have noticed this on the last agenda, maybe not, but on this one, you'll see that section D is now board member reports, announcements, and discussion of future agenda items. So future agenda items used to be a separate item. With some of the boards, we were just getting, there wasn't a real clear distinction between the two, so they've just been combined. There's no difference to them. You can bring up all the same stuff under them as you used to. But they've just been combined. This has been rolled out to all the NABs. We're working on rolling it out to all of the boards at the city. And then we end with a final period of closing public comment, and then section F, our adjournment. For the board and those in the audience, we post agendas at least 3 business days in advance of a meeting. And for the NABs, we send out a newsletter. So that was that Ward 2 newsletter. That's where you'll receive notice of the meeting. Agendas and associated materials are always posted on the meeting portal, which is Reno.Gov /meetings. So what I've pulled out on the screen is what you'll see if you open the HTML agenda. The HTML agendas right now are unique to the Planning Commission, the City Council, and the NABs. We're working on rolling it out to all of the other boards and commissions. But it's really convenient because it includes everything there, including attachments, which you don't see on the PDF agenda, but you'll see on the PDF packet. Sometimes it can be cumbersome to download the PDF packet because they can be very large when it comes to a lot of council and planning commission meetings. So if you're looking at an HTML agenda in your web browser, all you have to do to see attachments is click on an item with a paperclip icon. That means something has been attached to it. And then at the bottom right, you can see there's an attachment for an item, and that's a presentation. So you just click on the eyeball icon to open the attachment in your browser, or you'll click on the cloud with the down arrow to download the item to your device. So by the time the agenda is posted for NABs, you'll see attachments for minutes. That's when you can take a look at the minutes and just make sure it looks correct. For presentations, it just depends. We ask for applicants to get us presentations about 48 hours in advance, but that doesn't always happen, and we try to be flexible. So you might see those the day of.
So, Bill, for the record, open, when I was saying earlier, there was no link. I was specifically using the PDF.
The PDF agenda.
Yeah, the PDF agenda, because that is generally the one that has all the stuff,
Right.
the minutes and everything else.
So are you gonna send the HTML out from now on
It's-
with these links?
It's linked on the newsletter, the HTML agenda, and then you'll see it on the meeting portal. We haven't introduced the links. From my recollection, the planning department creates a short link for projects. And those, I believe, if they're still doing it the same, I haven't been in that department, but there's a short link on the courtesy notice. Obviously, if you're not in that notice radius, you don't receive it. So I'll look into how to make sure that's included.
There's
but-
already a link, every 2 weeks they send out the
Yes,
development
that's
review.
true.
They have that short link.
Yeah, so if you're subscribed to the development projects newsletter and you see a project, I think it says view application and then it says submit.
It
comment.
does.
If you click on view application, it'll take you to that 1NB page that I pulled up.
But what happens is sometimes it could be many months from when they submit to when it's coming to the NAP. I'm just suggesting you provide that same link
Yeah,
here.
I understand.
Yeah.
Take that feedback.
That's a lot of work. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I appreciate Sean McCoy, I appreciate the clarification. I was using the HTML, I was clicking. Let's say in this example here, clicking on B1, I get the drop down, I download it, and it's just one white page that has the exact same language from there.
yes.
And I thought, what am I missing? And I understand we as NAB members may be kind of like trained and shown where to go and get all that information, but
Yeah.
if we're trying to engage our community, it might be easier if we can have some of that information built in here. Like,
Yeah.
we're not hiding the ball, but it seems like we're hiding the ball.
I understand,
Instead
yeah.
of making it just seamless, like, oh, here it is, and this is where I can look at it, and here's our application. There is a way to do it, but that would be my request, to make it seamless so that you click and just download and look, and here's the information, or at least a link to where you need to go.
Yeah.
Because right now, it's like, oh, there is nothing. There is no staff report, there's no application. That's my mindset, because I'm clicking and saying there's nothing here. It's just the same language that's on the agenda.
The other thing I'd recommend, in this case, we had 2 individuals that don't usually present to us.
Mhm.
I think some outreach to them on what the NAB's expecting to see, a plan view, a cross section,
Yeah,
an area map, so you can find where this project is in space and time. That's what's usually in the presentations to make it easier for both the public and the NAB to understand what the world you're talking about. So when you find out who's doing it, if you can send them
yeah,
that information, what the NAB's expecting to see, it'll make it easier.
yes. I don't want to throw them under the bus.
No.
You have a NAB submittal guide online for presentations.
Okay,
Obviously, some people just elect not.
maybe
to
just forward
provide-
that to them.
Yes, next time.
The planner told us we didn't need it.
Oh.
It's simple.
So there's the disconnect.
There you
and
go.
Callie will get with the planners.
We know who gets kicked in the shins.
Well, let's ask the planner. The planner here tonight.
Yeah.
No, the planner's not
That's
here.
that kind of lady. Longish brown hair.
The planners used to come to these meetings up until very recently, and they would give their own presentation, which had basic information like why you're here, what type of permit you're applying for, what's the plan view, where is this project? So, since they're no longer coming, I think that it puts a little bit more responsibility onto the presenters.
I'm just thinking about the comments and questions about both the presentations today, probably would have had quite a few less questions.
Yeah,
Had there been a little more perspective on the front end
yeah, I
in some
think
way.
that was the goal of the
Handbook?
training from October to kind of, just to make sure that, the board and members of the public have all the resources. But we can definitely look into including that link. I don't think it will be too difficult to include on the agenda. As far as including application materials, that's a little more muddy, because even you could see as we open that one, it's in like 12 different files and we'd have to combine them all, but we can look into it.
So maybe not all the application files, but
Yeah.
at least an
link to
easy
where
way
it's-
to go get them or look at them.
Yes. Right.
Would
Yes.
be
A
that.
little handhold,
Yeah.
Please.
please.
I see that, I want to both these things, I tried to find them.
Mhm.
I see that there's 12, and there's no staff report even by the language that's coming, there's no new staff report, staff meeting. So I've been looking for those things and said, okay, I can open 12 of them, but where's the looking?
Right.
And then I open the application and it's just all those front pages, and that's why I get kind of tired of it, but it was told that it was paying about to me to get there.
Right.
So I'm just saying, you can do no suggestion that anyone should combine all those things into something.
Yeah,
But if we had a hot link somewhere that we could get to that place, on the one that I said, they could go into for it and look at case numbers and stuff.
Yep.
Well, probably the best thing too, in addition to the link, is your presentation. So you might have had a cover page, who you are, the address, plan view, just a simple synopsis in a PowerPoint, PDF of the PowerPoint, or even just a PDF.
PDF.
Yeah,
Well, all of that is in what was submitted, right? You did-
but the
you did a
presentation,
site plan.
I don't know that there's a presentation.
But I mean, we wouldn't assume that you wouldn't have the application.
I know, but what I'm telling you, because I've been doing this for now 11 and a half years. Everybody that comes and presents has a little presentation. It could be 3 slides, it could be 5. But that's what they're gonna,
Well,
that's.
you're gonna get, wow, thanks.
Oh.
Gauntlet tossed.
All right.
I'll
Okay.
take that feedback back to planning as
No,
well.
thank you, Colin.
Okay, okay, so the thing I wanted to focus on a little bit more is the new item, the board member reports, announcements, and discussion of future agenda items. I think this board does a really good job of differentiating between, you know, something that's like a Reno direct request and a future agenda item. So just bear with me as we go through this. To start, this item is always for discussion only, which means the board cannot take action under this item. It's also meant to inform future discussions, so board members should avoid starting lengthy discussions under this item. Open meeting law requires us to make sure that the public is aware of what the board plans to discuss, so if we get too deep into a topic, you might see me interrupt the conversation and ask that we save it for when the item is agendized. So some things you can bring up under reports and announcements are community events. If you serve on another board and commission, please feel free to bring some updates to this board. You can also suggest topics for business items. So we haven't seen too many in the last couple months, but you know, we had RTC here. If you're looking for another update from them, we can always reach out. Some other interesting ones, Ward 4 had a Food Truck Friday update. We've had some updates from NDOT as well. So those are things you can request. Please note that all agenda items have to be approved by the council liaison to the board. All right, as NAB members, we know you are the city's eyes and ears in your communities. You know what your communities are interested in, so we always want you to feel free to bring those matters to the table. So again, you're more than welcome to attend meetings of other city boards and commissions. They talk about a lot of really interesting things. There's Parks and Rec, there's historical resources, there's a lot of good stuff going on. As members, you're also welcome to coordinate with outside organizations and bring guest presentations to the board. I know some board members have heard outside presentations and think they would be great to hear at this NAB. So please feel free to connect me with them. I'm happy to get someone here for a business item. I kind of talked about this already, but constituent issues, it's always more helpful if we get them routed to Reno Direct. Members of the public and of the board are always welcome to bring them up here so we can get them over to our council relations liaison and make sure they get to staff so that constituent can get help. But again, these are some examples of NAB agenda items. With that, I just wanted to provide some resources. You can always contact me if you ever have any questions or concerns. For information on board and commission meetings, you can visit the City of Reno's calendar and see when they're coming up. If you're looking for those agendas, once they're posted, they'll be on Reno.Gov/meetings. Like I said, most of the boards right now are operating with those PDF agendas and PDF packets, but hopefully this year we'll get them all onto the HTML agenda. And then I wanted to include the contact information for Reno Direct again. With that, we have a Reno City Planning Commission meeting tomorrow at City Hall. I think we have 2 or 3 items on that agenda, none from Ward 2. We have a city council meeting next week on Wednesday, the 28th, and then our next NAP is planned for February 17th here at the anniversary. But that's it for me. Happy to answer any more questions, but Mike, you use some later questions. Just kidding.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Good job,
Thank
Kelly.
you, Kelly. Okay, then we will move on to C, business items.
There are none.
Are none. Move on to D, board commission committee member reports, announcements and discussions. Let's have some lengthy discussions on topics so we can see if Cal is paying attention, interrupt and stop us. No, this is just see if anybody has any announcements, reports, or future agenda items.
That's a good question. Because it's the different agenda.
Sure.
Open. We talked several meetings ago about Reno police.
not come into this meeting to give the update, and you are going to check
I
it.
did. So, I found out that the Reno police are no longer, doing updates at the NABs. And I really was curious about what that was about, because there are Reno, police officers working 3 shifts, 24 hours. So this falls within somebody's 24 hours where they don't have to do overtime. So I was really pushing about what's this overtime challenge. I said we could put them up front before everything, so they have a time certain. Finally, what the police chief told me was that she is happy to come and talk to us, and I think she was thinking once a year. I still don't know I don't think that's a permanent condition that should be accepted. Just for the rest of everybody, for over 11 years, we have had a quarterly report from the police about crime in our neighborhood, from speeding to abandoned cars to break-ins to criminal activity. It lasted about 20 minutes. They gave us statistics. One of the challenges that they told me is that the statistics were more approximate than real in the past. And the chief is implementing a better tracking system to understand what kind of things are actually happening. So I've seen all these reports. I thought the numbers were true, and she is implying that maybe they weren't exactly accurate. And she wants them to be more accurate. And so I'm not gonna let it go, but I'm only gonna be here for a year. I don't know if it'll get resolved within this next 8-10 months. But I can at least request she come. Yeah.
My 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
Bad historical data is a poor reason not to come in the future.
Okay. Well, I told her from this point forward, you're collecting good historical data, right?
Right?
And so I think in 3 months, we'd at least have good 3 months of data. So I'm with you, Bill, and she knows, I've talked to her. And then they said, well, if you really need to know something, we can make an exception or do something. So I think it's gonna really require, if the NAB wants that presentation, even in 6 months, let's say. Maybe it's good to put in the request now. They have 6 months to plan for this 1 hour, this half hour of their life in our world. I think it's important because this is where we connect with the neighborhood. And where else is the neighborhood going to understand statistics that apply to Ward 2 and understand what the crime story is here? So if that's something you're interested in, you should probably make the request. You can forward it on. You can tell them they have months to plan it and prepare for it, whatever.
Documents, I think the chief Nance was at one of our meetings. I can't remember, or maybe it was the last officer who came for the last time. There was I guess in defense of the police department, it's not that the data was bad. The explanation was that things fell under different categories. So something happened and it was an event, yet it was reported in 3 different ways. So the view that you got was skewed a little bit. It wasn't like they were collecting bad data, just that.
They were cooking the books.
It would be wonderful if they came by once a quarter and explained.
Yeah, but I believe that, again, I couldn't misremember this, but I think that was the problem, so trying to figure out a better way to collect and parse the information so that we would actually understand it better, but they use it to decide what neighborhoods they're concentrating.
Well, let me give you an example. So the police just got approval from the city to implement a real-time drone system. And they're hoping that the drone system will reduce officer time. So they can deploy the drones very quickly. It can report on the ground what's happening. Maybe they don't even need to deploy an officer. So they're hoping it'll reduce their time 25%. I would love them to come and explain that to you.
Can we get a drone here?
Yeah, right, probably. And there are 3. There's one down for this area and south. And there's one in central and there's one in north. And then I think there's a 4th one. And Sparks people who run drones are also working on the same operations center, which is in the new public safety center. So, I mean, I think that would be great as a standalone presentation to hear about that. It's really interesting. I mean.
Kelly, I request that you.
Yeah, can we make that request right now?
Talk to us.
About drones. They could send a drone instead if they can't get the manpower.
Yeah.
I mean, I think,
That would be an official board request, I guess.
Sure.
yeah,
Dr. Fisher, for the record, I'd be curious about state constitution restrictions on filming. Maybe we can't even put cameras on traffic lights
Exactly.
It's a little strange.
or stop signs, you know, because of privacy.
They are apparently adhering to all privacy issues. I think they wiped some of the recorded film. I can't explain it. They need to explain it, but
Yeah.
I brought up those issues, as did Megan Ebert was with me. She's another council member when we toured this center and the drones before we discussed it at council. And so they had some pretty good answers for this. So it's a great question and they need to have a great answer. And I think they probably do.
Councilwoman, who operates and manages it? Are they contracting to a third party or?
So they have a third party on the drones. And again, we're not on the agenda, so I feel a little off
No,
here,
fair.
but I'll just say. They have a third party that they're acquiring it from that's gonna maintain it for like the next 4 years. But within the police department they've deployed, I think it's a really good idea. Officers that have to do desk duty are being trained on how to manage these drones. And so they're not just sitting around doing paperwork, but they can do other jobs. And they're also training specialists to do this, and they're coming up with a new job title to deal with this.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
okay. That wraps up item D. We'll move now to E, the final public comment phase. And I know we have at least one, maybe two that have some public comment they wanted to make at the end here.
Paul and Linda Smith, I think I saw them leave.
Okay.
Paul did not state what he was going to speak about, but in opposition, but Linda put E1 general public comments against Duncan Golf Course development.
Okay, so that's the Lake Ridge.
Right. But we do have Faith. State your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes.
All right, good evening. My name is Faith, and thanks for letting me speak tonight. Sorry. I'd like to express some concerns regarding the construction project for 2093 Chancellor Circle. First, I want to address the compliance with the Sunset Hill subdivision CCNRs. Based on the available information, the project appears to violate established setback requirements. These standards exist to preserve privacy, maintain neighborhood character, and to minimize impacts to neighboring properties. I have concerns that there may be additional CCNR violations related to height and construction time. So just that. And then I would also like to address concerns on possible erosion impacts. Building a large structure on a steep slope requires extensive grading and soil disturbance. Hillside failures don't always occur immediately and can be triggered later by heavy rain or seismic activity. And changes to the natural landscape may result in damage to neighboring properties over time. We are requesting a complete and careful evaluation of the CCNR compliance, hillside safety, drainage, neighborhood compatibility, and the potential long-term impacts of the project.
So before you leave, I also live in a development that has CCNRs. We don't have an HOA. You.
No,
Right. So we do have an architectural committee in our development, and they look to basically enforce the CCNRs. Do you?
that I don't know.
Okay, well, you might want to find out, because basically what you'll hear from the city is that they don't enforce CCNRs. And so, it seems like for your neighborhood, there should be some mechanism. If you're gonna have a CCNR, the city doesn't enforce those. Those are an agreement when you buy your house to abide by certain restrictions. So if you don't have some kind of architectural review committee, and we've had the same, we've had, you know, the setbacks are also 30 feet in our neighborhood, also 15 feet, not 5, in our neighborhood. Some people can't comply with them. They have to go to the architectural review committee and discuss, and then work with their neighbors actually, and get approval from their next door neighbors on either side if they're gonna violate the side setbacks. So there's a process. And so I don't know how many people live in your area that's considered, what was the name?
The Sunset Hills subdivision.
The Sunset Hills subdivision. But you might want to start asking your neighbors what there exists, and if it doesn't, you might want to get it started. I think we have 7 members, and when they go off, others come on. My husband has served. I never have, but
Oh, thank you.
okay? But I recommend that you send your comments into the staff. I can give you the card also,
Okay.
okay? All right, thank you.
I don't know where Sunset Hill subdivision is.
It's over, it's off of West Plum. So,
Is that, are either of these properties we heard about tonight?
yes, yeah, it was the second one.
Second, Chancellor. We were listening.
You said we were close enough.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it was, yeah, so yeah, it was.
Yeah,
the-
B2.
Okay, thank you so much.
With that,
Respond to that.
Yeah, you can.
It's public comment. You got 3 minutes.
So,
The station into the record again, please.
do I go? So, again, Nathan Tolbert, representing the designer and representing the owners. So yeah, to the grading that she was mentioning, I think I explained, but I wasn't able to show you a lot of how we did extensive design and retaining and infiltrating all that water. And so the runoff is being contained on there. We've done the soils report, soils analysis. We've got the designed bill. And so we've gone through all of that process, and it's been reviewed and approved, like, not the final approval, but all the final comments have been addressed through Reno's engineering department. They didn't have, like I said, the response to this. They didn't have it in the engineering department, have any comments. As far as the setbacks, it is my understanding, and we looked that those CCNRs are no longer active. Like I said, this thing was 60 years old. And so it wasn't even included in the title package when they bought the lot. So the title company would, if that was active, would have included those CCNRs, so you would know that when you buy your property. So that was where we were left. In talking to planning about it, they said that, like you said, they don't enforce it, but there is no one to enforce it. So there's no one to even ask for a deviation from it.
Right,
So,
well, that's what I'm saying, what we did in our neighborhood. But when you say there aren't any, I'm just curious, ours were done in the 40s, they're
right,
still in effect.
right.
I don't
My
know.
understanding of these are not. So that, I could be completely wrong on that,
It
but
could be in effect, but nobody's comment.
Right.
You actually.
Wait, just stop, just wait.
yeah, so that's my personal understanding. We are happy to address that,
Okay,
but we were advised that there was nowhere to address it.
Okay.
So that's where,
All right.
that was where we stood on it at the moment. We are willing to try to address it. However, we would just go for a deviation because pushing it back from those setbacks would actually restrict the views of the neighbors, the two adjoining neighbors. And there's precedent, the next door neighbor is within 10 feet of that right now. So,
Okay.
and
so are you having a side setback too, or just the front?
no, we have no.
Just the setback. I know, you're the one with the setback,
They're
but I-
here.
There, so we are completely.
Yeah.
different.
I know,
And we didn't just go to the minimum, we set it back because we know
gotcha,
construction errors happen and we didn't
Okay.
want to have any issues with that. So like I said, we're trying to preeminate any of those. Preeminate, I think I was made up a word.
you did.
I like it. So call me George Bush. So that, and then my last comment is not on the project. I don't know if you know, I'm Douglas County Commissioner, and we do not have a neighborhood advisory board. And after sitting through this, I'm gonna go back and ask that we look into doing something like this, because this informal presence is really nice. I mean, we're pretty volatile in our
Are you?
area, so
You're-
having
you're
something like this,
As a planning commissioner, is that?
I am a county commissioner.
Yeah.
County commissioner.
Look,
Wait,
you're on the county?
Yeah, I'm District 5, yeah.
Fantastic.
So, but this is my regular job. So that's why I said I don't know why I'm nervous talking to the group when I sit on the other side. But I really appreciate this particular board and this neighborhood advisory board. I think it could solve a lot of issues and letting the public be heard. Where they just get into the county commission meeting and having 3 minutes and that's it is, yeah. So I want
And you
to say I
can't really
appreciate
respond
this.
very well.
Right, you can't do like we're just doing.
No,
what we're
back and
action.
forth.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Did you want to come up?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I just
sure.
have a.
But just, you gotta come up so that the people on Zoom.
Sure.
Hear you. What's the,
What's it say? I told you I would.
what's the planning commission email? Is it PC at planning? Or
they're on PC public comment at Reno.Gov, or are you just looking to email staff?
just no, what's the planning commission email?
It's PC public comment.
PC public comment at Reno.Gov. Okay.
I'm Brandon Gilbay for the record. I just want to address the last comments. We actually bought the adjacent property a little over a year ago, and during the actual title signing process, we actually received the CCNRs that said they were still valid. And we actually had a signed document stating that we would abide by those CCNRs. They actually renew in perpetuity, so
That's what I thought.
they are not expired and they still are ever present, and any property owner in the neighborhood can enforce them.
And this is for the Sunset Hills?
Yes, that's.
Well, that's what I thought, because ours are from the forties and they don't have an expiration date and they're forever, and it's up to the neighbors to enforce amongst themselves. Whatever way they set that up, whether it's through a board or just through informal conversation. I've had to inform some of my neighbors about how big they can build their outbuildings and stuff like this.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure, yeah.
But that's good information for you, that maybe your title company failed to provide you all the documents, you know?
So no, we.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, it seems odd that you wouldn't have CCNRs, even if they were from like the thirties and forties.
We do have CCNRs.
Yes.
You do. Okay, so maybe this gentleman just didn't know.
Right.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
all right, but it does come back to the practical nature of enforceability.
Yeah, there's other violations, there's other instances in the neighborhood where.
And the thing that I would say as a NAB member, for the folks who are here and have skin in this game, talk to each other, trade phone numbers, trade emails, please talk to each other. Do your best to be good neighbors as best you can. It's not everything gets fixed all the time, but you know.
The phone call can be cheaper than the lawsuit.
Yeah.
And sometimes if there's no outlet, no advisory board, no nothing, that's.
what happened?
That's what it
It
happens.
escalates, and our chair is an attorney. And so he's very.
I'm not taking your case.
No.
Okay, well, I think E, final public comment. Not seeing anyone else. We have anyone on Zoom? Okay. All right, then I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Mike Ginsburg for the record.
Christian Martin seconding.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Well, the UNR basketball game is